The metaphysical poet John Donne wrote, "I am two fools, I know, for loving and for saying so." While the poem, published in 1633, is about the folly of love, it is also ironically referring back to a strange and portentous incident in Donne's life when he saw his wife's doppelganger, or double, in 1612. Donne was born in 1572, going on to earn a storied reputation as a poet and prose writer. He married the 17-year-old Anne More in 1601 and was actually imprisoned for the marriage, as her well-connected father didn't agree with the union. After his eventual release, the young couple struggled. Anne bore 12 children, 2 of them stillborn and 3 of them dying before they reached the age of 10. The couple didn't find their financial footing until Donne became an Anglican priest. But sadly, Anne wouldn't live to enjoy this long-awaited success for long. In 1612, Anne would pass away after the stillbirth of their last child. The strange events surrounding her death were recorded by writer Isaac Walton. 2 days after their arrival there, Mr. Donne was left alone in that room in which Sir Robert and he and some other friends had dinner together. To this place Sir Robert returned within the half hour, and, as he left, so he found Mr. Donne alone, but in such ecstasy and so altered as to his looks, as amazed Sir Robert to behold him in so much that he earnestly desired Mr. Donne to declare what had befallen him in the short time of his absence. To which Mr. Donne was not able to make a present answer, but after a long and perplexing pause did say at last, "I have seen a dreadful vision since I saw you. I have seen my dear wife pass twice by me through this room, her hair hanging about her shoulders, and a dead child in her arms. This I have seen since I saw you." To which Sir Robert replied, "Sure, sir, you have slept since I saw you, and this is the result of some melancholy dream, which I desire you to forget, for you are now awake." To which Mr. Donne's reply was, "I cannot be surer that I now live than that I have not slept since I saw you, and am assured that at her second appearing she stopped, looked me in the face, and vanished." This horrifying vision occurred before Donne learned that his beloved wife Anne would pass away that night in childbirth. Welcome, travelers. You've landed beside the wandering soul, and today we're venturing into the subject of doppelgangers. So sit back and listen to some remarkable tales, some legendary, some verified, of those who've been given the perhaps unlucky chance to meet themselves and walk together for a short time in the uncanny valley. A doppelganger, or double walker, is a double of a living person. And while some may have seen others who bear a striking resemblance to themselves, a doppelganger is distinguished by the fact that it is oneself, a copy alike in every way, almost as though it were the ghost of oneself. Doppelgangers are seen as harbingers of bad luck, as the doppelganger of Anne certainly was. They are known by other names as well: the fetch, or a ghost of a living person, or spirit doubles. Even the idea of an alter ego can trace itself back to folklore surrounding doppelgangers, and many cultures have their own versions of the doppelganger. With such widespread belief and many recorded historical occurrences, perhaps there is some notion of truth to the belief in doppelgangers. The Romantic-era poet Percy Bysshe Shelley is reported to have seen his own double several times throughout his life, and others reportedly also saw the double as well. Most frighteningly, Shelley saw his doppelganger shortly before his own death on July 8, 1822. Shelley reported that he had seen himself, in the sunlight, walking towards himself on the terrace of his rented house. The double approached him and asked, "How long do you mean to be content?" Stranger still, another person, Jane Williams, had also seen Shelley's doppelganger on the same terrace and fell into a fit of trembling terror when she was told that Shelley was nowhere near the house at the time she had seen him. Shelley's doppelganger proved to also be a foreboding omen of bad luck. Days later, Shelley would drown while sailing in bad weather. His body wasn't found for 10 days and was identifiable only by his clothing. Elizabeth I, the writer Goethe, and other notable persons have also had premonitions of their own deaths through the visit of a doppelganger. The most famous of these is probably Abraham Lincoln, who, in 1860, saw his double in a mirror's reflection, standing beside his own reflection. However, the doppelganger's face was noticeably paler and tired-looking. In Lincoln's own words, recorded by Noah Brooks, "It was just after my election in 1860, when the news had been coming in thick and fast all day, and there had been a great hurrah, boys, so that I was well tired out, and went home to rest, throwing myself down on a lounge in my chamber. Opposite where I lay was a bureau with a swinging glass upon it. And looking in that glass, I saw myself reflected nearly at full length, but my face, I noticed, had 2 separate and distinct images, the tip of the nose of one being about 3 inches from the tip of the other. I was a little bothered, perhaps startled, and got up and looked in the glass, but the illusion vanished. On lying down again, I saw it a second time, plainer, if possible, than before, and then I noticed that one of the faces was a little paler, say 5 shades, than the other. I got up, and the thing melted away, and I went off, and in excitement of the hour, forgot all about it. Nearly, but not quite, for the thing would come up at once in a while, and give me a little pang, as if something uncomfortable had happened. When I went home again that night and told my wife about it, and a few days afterward I made the experiment again, when, sure enough, the thing came back again. But I never succeeded in bringing the ghost back after that, though I once tried very industriously to show it to my wife, who was somewhat concerned about it. She thought that it was a sign that I was to be elected to a second term of office, and that the paleness of one of the faces was an omen that I should not see life through the last term. The most well-known occurrence of a doppelganger is that of schoolteacher Emily Saget. Saget was a 32-year-old teacher who was employed at a girls' boarding school in what is now Latvia. Her story was recounted by the spiritualist Robert Dale Owen in his 1860 book, Footfalls on the Boundary of Another World. Soon after Saget arrived, students kept seeing her in 2 places at once. One student would say she had seen Saget in such or such a room, whereupon another would say, "Oh no, she can't be there, for I just met her on the stairway," or perhaps some more distant corridor. The other teachers told the girls it was all fancy and nonsense. One day, while Saget was teaching a class and writing on the blackboard, the students suddenly saw 2 mademoiselles, one by the side of the other. They were exactly alike, except that the real Saget was really writing, whereas her double was just imitating the motion. The double kept appearing. One girl later saw 2 reflections of Saget in the mirror, causing her to faint. The same girl also saw the double walking around while the real Saget was in bed. One day, the double's appearances came to a head. All the girls were embroidering in the same room and saw Saget picking flowers outside. While they watched her, another Saget walked very slowly and languidly into the room and sat in a chair inside the room. Two of the boldest students approached her and tried to touch the figure. They averred that they did feel a slight resistance, which they likened to that which a fabric like fine muslin or crepe would offer to the touch. One of the two then passed close in front of the armchair and actually threw a portion of the figure. Owen says the figure gradually disappeared. He doesn't say if it faded like a ghost. The uproar and fear brought about by Saget's double eventually led to her firing, and Owen reported that the teacher left the area, apparently relocating to Russia, perhaps with her doppelganger in tow. But what are these visions of doppelgangers? Are they merely strange premonitions or some type of hallucination? Several theories address the phenomenon. Psychoanalyst Sigmund Freud posited that doppelgangers are representative of repressed fears of death, instilling in the viewer a feeling of uncanniness, perhaps due to meeting head-on some hidden aspect of one's own personality. The notion carries with it that idea of our unnatural doubles somehow being corrupted, hence the fear associated with meeting, strangely, oneself. Another theory suggests that doppelgangers are somehow a manifestation of time slips, that the double appears due to some shift in time in which we are given a glimpse of ourselves during a different period in time. Lincoln's view of himself as more aged and tired seems to uphold this idea. Or perhaps doppelgangers are evidence of a parallel or multidimensional universe. When our doubles are seen, are we actually witnessing some slice of ourselves in another universe, coexisting alongside our own? Emily Saget's story seems to bring this theory to light. She appeared as herself, not older or younger, simply a different version of herself, acting out similar patterns of her own behavior. And these theories represent what is most terrifying about doppelgangers. We may not be our own unique, singular selves. Are there other selves out there somewhere, thinking of themselves as unique and singular? As Percy Shelley wrote in Prometheus Unbound, he met his own image walking in the garden. That apparition, soul of men, he saw. For know, there are two worlds of life and death, one that which thou beholdest, but the other is underneath the grave, where do inhabit the shadows of all forms that think and live, till death unite them, and they part no more. The Wandering Soul is written and produced by Wandering Nix. Our music is generously provided by John Osborne Farley, and you can find his work on Spotify and follow him on Facebook. This podcast is recorded and edited at Genesee Valley Media under the direction of Nick Davis. Follow Wandering Nix and The Wandering Soul on Facebook, and check back for more stories of the paranormal, the haunted, and the unusual. And wander with a friend, so you don't get lost.
It's sunset. Reaching out a wing until I'm born then. Gentle, still, and far above with a gown.